What's up, Pod Pals? It's your buddy Adam, and you're checking out Podcasting Business School. It's a show where I teach podcasters how to love their show like a hobby and build it like a business. If you are a frustrated podcaster that is ready to stop hearing crickets and start making some money, even with a small audience, you are in the right place. Today, we are doing a podcast audit episode with my good pod pal, honestly, one of my favorite pod pals, not to try to play favorites and all, but he is. Let's just be truthful here. Kevin Lowe from the Lowe Down with Kevin Lowe podcast. Kevin, how's it going, man?
It's going good, man. Don't worry. It's not the first time that I've been told I'm a favorite. So
fan fave. So I love your energy. I love what you're doing out there in the podcasting space. I'm excited to connect for this. So let's paint the picture, man. It seems like you are a little bit of a turning point from the conversations we've had via DMs and things like that. Like you're exploring some new areas with your business and with your show. And it seems like you're open to a few new ideas as well. So 6 months from today, let's paint that picture. Everything's gone great. We're having another conversation like this. Tell me what would make everything just on fire for your show 6 months from now, if it all went as according to plan.
Yeah, man. So for me, 6 months from now, it would be the download numbers are up to the point that I don't really even care about what the number is. I just want to know for my own self-esteem that I'm reaching as many people as possible with the podcast and that it's turning into those ideal listeners who are becoming customers of, becoming coaching clients.
Right.
So now the podcast is actually starting to make some money.
Right. Okay. So let's peel that back a little bit. Who's the ideal listener for your show? Let's unpack that.
Yeah, man. So I think my ideal listener is, I don't have like a specific, it's got to be a woman, 33 years old, born in January or anything like that. But more so it's the person who is at the point in their life where they're ready to make a big change in life. They're just not sure what to do, how to do it. And they're kind of one of those situations where they're just kind of looking for a little inspiration, something to kind of motivate them. They're feeling a little bit down, a little bit discouraged. And I hope that my podcast can be the thing that kind of helps them out, not only cheers them up, but gives them some advice and helps them out in life.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, obviously I know your stuff, I know your content, but just for context for the audience here, but I think you've got some magic in a bottle here, man. Like your story. I mean, there's so many examples out there in the world of people that have had really crazy bad things happen to them and they flip it and they create amazing opportunities and they help so many people. Like I interviewed a young man named Nick Santanastaso. And like he's a great example of somebody that life dealt him some tough cards and he's dealt with it. And now he's doing really well, helping a lot of people out there in the business space. But like with you, and for those of you that are listening in, you don't know Kevin, Kevin is blind and he's got a crazy story about going in for a surgery, coming out completely blind. And since you were 17 years old?
Yeah, man, almost 19 years ago.
Okay, so 19 years of overcoming this adversity and turning it into a positive. So I think if we're sitting down here talking like business strategy, I'm going, all right, Kevin, we need to look at that group that you're trying to impact, that ideal listener that you described to me. How specific can we get that, especially when we're trying to connect the dots from those people into your coaching program? So Do you feel like you just described that ideal listener? Are there any differences between them and your ideal coaching client? Are there one or two identifiers that you would say like, okay, when they go from listener to client, these 2 or 3 things these ingredients are usually there? What would that be for you?
Yeah, it's funny because I went broad on listener. Client, I have her name. Her name's Jenny C. She's like early 30s. She's had some stuff happen in life, medical issues, disability, major divorce, something major that's kind of shifted her perspective on life and has her kind of rethinking where she's at. And she's wanting to make some big changes in life, in business. And so that's my ideal client.
Okay. So I love that. So what I think we need to really do with your business is start working backwards from that ideal client. So when you're creating content, think about Jenny C, right? That's what you
Yeah.
said. So
Yeah.
think about Jenny C and go, what does Jenny C need to hear with this episode?
Okay.
And because that will still serve your broader base as well. But you got to make damn sure we're serving Jenny C. Like that's every single episode. So that's going to help quite a bit, because that's going to build what I call that community client bridge of just that relatable content that's serving up the best stuff for your ideal potential clients. That's going to build the know, like, and trust. That's going to build your expert positioning. I know that you're doing some solo episodes. Have you done any coaching style episodes yet?
I have not. I want to.
Okay.
Yes.
So A+ on the solo stuff. I think that's extremely important, because with you, like monetization wise, I see one-on-one coaching. I see group membership sort of things. If you're in the overcoming adversity space, having a posse matters. Like having a group of like-minded people is power. So mastermind, group coaching stuff. Like if we're going to build out, I don't like to build out just a value ladder. I like to build out a value pyramid so that we have like 3 sorts of offers going initially, but then also some recurring income options on the back edge. So it's a pyramid, not just a ladder. But not a pyramid scheme, Kevin. Don't get any crazy ideas. If you sign up and then you get 5 people to sign up, and I get all the money.
I was wondering. I'm like, he maybe needs to rethink the pyramid thing, but
value triangle, a value non-pyramid shaped triangle. But that's what I want you thinking is like, okay, you've got your base coaching offer. What does that look like? Maybe you could do some sort of a one-off consultation as a downsell. Like, okay, they can't afford coaching, but I can do a 30-minute or, we had talked about how I do my consults, which I really like, where if you guys have ever considered doing a consult with me, it's the best game in town, where I go, okay, you don't just get an hour with me. I want to do 2 sessions, a 45 and a 15. It's the same amount of time, but we get a lot more done because we do the 15-minute as a follow-up 2 weeks later, because that's when all the questions are happening, as you've tried to implement already. Yep. So something like that, I like that off of as a downsell. And then maybe some sort of mastermind, small group, higher ticket thing that's like, all right, you've done my coaching thing. Now you can graduate and do this other offer that's higher ticket. And this is where the people who are really wanting to initiate change, that's where they hang out. So I'd be mentally mapping that stuff out. You can get by with just the base coaching and then a consultation downsell, and you can make 6 figures doing that, Kevin. Like that's a done deal. And we build out the rest as we go.
Yep.
But we need to tailor your content to fit those offers. And then you definitely need to dial in and start doing some coaching style episodes, because you're inspirational as hell. So I think with that type of content, we really need to be thinking, what is the appetizer to your offer?
Yes.
Because I've got a client, her name's Ashley, and she's in the budgeting space, but if you're in like that type of area, your type of area, people can just hang on to you, and all of a sudden it's been 2 hours and you just gave them free coaching for 2 hours, sort of a thing. So we have to be very specific with the name, and it's just a pinpoint. It's the first domino that we kick over, and they go, wow, that was freaking great. What's next? To the point where, like, I helped Ashley set her whole process up, and the first 2 people that came on her show, she hadn't even released any episodes yet. They both asked her, so how can we do coaching? And she's like, wow, this really does work, Adam. Great job. I'm like, yeah, it's called adding value and building relationships. Unique, novel concept here. So I think we need to look at, all right, what for the perfect Kevin coaching client, this Jenny C, what's the first step? Is it some sort of analysis? Because with a lot of people, they're dealing with the shit that life has just dumped on their plate. We have to analyze and go, okay, what is actually happening here? And what is the first step to reversing our momentum? Like, that's what I see with you. How's that concept hitting you?
That's hitting real good. And I want to ask you, because see, I took action from stuff I learned from you, and I created a client roadmap, a listener journey.
Yes.
And so, and I called it, I think he called it like the life reclamation roadmap. So that this roadmap for taking back control of your life. Would that basically be the principle for these coaching style episodes of basically what I'm doing on the back end is placing them, figuring out where on the roadmap they are, and then helping them figure out the strategies they need to take the next steps.
Yeah, exactly.
Simple as
So
that.
let's use this conversation as an example. All right. That way you can apply it directly. So, we've been having a conversation here. From what I know about you, from what you filled out for me, from the conversation we've had here today, I'm like, all right, Kevin is in phase 2 of my podcasting success timeline, which is where most podcasters are, the post-launch frustration zone. Like, we're ready to really get serious about this. We're ready to make money. We're ready to build a business around this. And then I want to help you get from phase 2 to phase 3, which is the business traction zone. Now, I've got a whole list of action steps, and I know you're already taking action on some of these because you listen to my show and you hang out with me on Instagram and stuff like that. So, but like having a set marketing plan, doing coaching style episodes, dialing in your offer towards your ideal listener avatar, mapping out your ideal listener journey. So you're doing the right things. So when you do an episode like this or a session like this, you have that checklist of options and you really just hone in on one or two. And it's okay too if some of those things are your services. Like when I tell people, hey, a next action step is going to be to map out your ideal listener journey. Oh, by the way, that's a part of my coaching program, or whatever like that's okay. Some people think it should only be free things or things they could do on their own. I'm like, no, have a mix of, you definitely want some quick hitter, easy action steps that they can do on their own. It's not like, and behind the paywall, I will do all this. But just, like, okay, listen for people in phase 2, or their second phase 2, I'm like, listen to my podcasting business workshop week. It starts at episode 280 through episode 284. This is really going to help. And, people that are really into that tend to be really into my coaching too. So that's a good thing. So, but that's free. Anybody can do that and it's going to help them. And so something like that, that's just an initiation of some momentum. The way, like, we want to get them some wins because that's what the episode's all about. Because that's great for expert positioning. It's great content. And it's just like proving your ability to coach on your own show. And that's what I'm doing every single Friday with the podcast on it. These are completely unscripted. I have no idea where the conversation is going to go. I have a little bit of an idea of where I think we should take it, but it almost never ends up there. And it's just kind of, it is what it is, but it's all expert positioning. So is that helpful?
Yeah, tremendously, man. I love it.
Okay. So then the next step is we got to find a whole bunch of Jenny C's out there that are wanting to come on your session. Now, I love the word reclamation.
Yes.
I think we got to paint that picture because what I'm seeing with you is that life momentum backslide is happening and you're the guy that they can plug into, borrow some of your energy, borrow some of that big Kevin Lowe energy and use that until they build up their own. And you help them stop the negative momentum and then shift gears into positive momentum. And that's something I used to talk about a lot on my weight loss podcast back in the day, where when people are trying to transform their health, a lot of times they think they can snap their fingers and go from negative to positive momentum. I'm like, oh, no. Like if a boulder is rolling downhill, we got to stop it rolling downhill first.
Exactly.
So that could almost be the theme of this chat you're going to have.
Yes.
How do we stop the boulder? How do we stop the negative momentum? Let's focus on that. Let's identify the boulder and let's figure out one action step to stop it. Because then the natural next question is, well, how the heck do I make sure this thing is stopped and then start actually moving forward? And that's what your paid services are going to provide. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense. I love it.
So, I mean, I just want to double emphasize that you do not have to do your entire coaching protocol in a 30-minute session. And a lot of people are like, I got to pack it all in there. I'm like, no. So if we give them too much, they won't do anything anyway. So if we can break it down and go, okay, Jenny, see, here's the goal of what we're about to do here. Number one, we're going to figure out that one thing that's really causing this backslide. Like, what is the real issue we're dealing with? And I'm going to give you at least one action step that you can take that will definitely help you stop the backslide, stop the negative momentum. That way we can start moving forward. Sound
Yeah.
good? She's like,
Yeah.
hell yeah, I'm ready. So I think that is a great episode, and you have to describe that in the way that you name the episode, but also in the description as you're out there marketing it. Like, if you ever feel like XYZ, using words like backsliding, negative momentum, circling the drain, like a lot of that, it's time to identify what the real issue is and then work on action steps to stop the backslide. And then we can actually move forward together. So that's how I would market that sucker. And you have to think, like, where are these people hanging out? Are they hanging out on your show? Do you need to go somewhere else and pull them in? Yep. But that's the exact technique that I would be doing, man.
Dude, you're so golden. I love it. I love every bit of it. Yeah, dude.
So I think then we go, all right, how do we, of course, get social proof out there? I always recommend grabbing 3 people that already know, like, and trust you. So 3 current clients work the best in this situation, to where you're like, hey, bring them on. And maybe you talk about where they were when they first started working with you, or whatever. Or you could get family and friends. You could get people that you are, colleagues in the podcasting space, whatever. And you just explain to them what the session's all about, why you're doing it, and why you need them to play ball and participate and show up and be, coherent and stuff. I've had a few people that do this, and they're like, I got my best friend and it really sucked because they just talked the whole time. And you got to really lay it out there. Like, here are the rules. I am the expert, and you just play along and be educated. And most time it goes excellent. So, like, if you have a Facebook group, an Instagram following, clients, that's where we're going to fish and get 3 people. Then we're going to release those episodes, and then make sure that you have a call to action that lets people know how to sign up for this type of amazing episode. And usually that does the trick. 3 episodes. Now, if you wanted to, you could do a little bit of a like a workshop week situation where you do 5 of them and go Monday through Friday. The more of these you get out, the faster, the better, is what I always say. And people that listen to every podcast audit episode are probably sick of me saying this, but I'll say it every time. This is one of the most important things. It's like, if you release 1 per month, it's going to take a year before you have 12 out. If you release 1 a week, then we're getting 50 of these out in a year. And if you have somebody listen to 50 of these, your conversion rate will skyrocket, because I have people that sign up for my stuff that never do a podcast audit, but they've listened to dozens of them. And that's saying something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So what questions do you have as far as, like, really making this happen? Are you worried? Usually the pain points, the worry points are, how do I find people? What do I name this thing? I feel like we've covered that a little bit, but is there any clarity we need to dish out there?
Yeah, no, I think I can take what we've talked about here and run with it. Yeah, I'm super excited. This has helped me out tremendously.
Good. And I think, like, this needs to be a focus point. And it's, like I say on the show, if you work on building relationships, you're working on building your business. And that's something that you're good at. You've got a sticky personality. You're very positive, and it's like you're somebody that people want to be around. And that's, in the adversity space, people do need to borrow energy like that. So I think that you're going to be good to go. And this is just going to showcase it. So moving forward, here's a challenge for you. Lowe Down with Kevin Lowe is, we'll talk about that name in a second here. Don't you worry. It's coming. But I would challenge you to have 2/3 of your content be you showcasing you as an expert. 1/3 you can showcase, interviews and other people. So out of 3 episodes, I like a rotation that's like Kevin solo, Kevin coaching, interview, Kevin solo, Kevin coaching, interview. So that's one challenge. Then when it comes to the name, that's going to be the name of your podcast is going to be a critical thing. I know that was one of the things you were scared about talking about originally. Dude, but you told me you were open to it. Dude, Kevin delayed doing his podcast audit because he's going to make me change the name, and I don't want to change the name.
Until I had the awakening moment, and I thought to myself, but would it be so bad if I loved the new name just as much? And then that's what made me go on and book the podcast on it, because I'm like, I had to get over that fear.
Yeah.
No, hey, real quick, before we dive into that, real quick, the question I had about the schedule of the episodes as far as interview and the coaching and stuff. Right now, I'm doing every, like, say, Wednesday is an interview, every Friday is solo.
Okay. So what I would do is you could kind of model podcasting business school layout a little bit, or what I did for a lot of years would be every other Wednesday would be an interview. So if you go Wednesday 1 is a coaching style episode, and then Wednesday 2 is an interview. Actually, I think, no, we need to do a coaching style episode every week. So I would rotate the other episode between solo and an interview. And that, I think that will serve you the best. It'll serve your audience the best, and it'll serve your business the best, which is a triple whammy. And,
perfect.
That's what we want. And,
sweet.
And Kevin tried to tell the story a little bit there, everybody, but he DM'd me on Instagram. He said Jim Morrison came to him in a dream and told him to do a podcast audit, and he's whacked him over the head with an ATR 2100, and he woke up. So
that, you know what? You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he had too much CBD oil and just got a little crazy for a second.
Exactly.
So name wise, like, I've been putting out a couple episodes that I'm sure you dug into with, like, rebranding, SEO ideas and things like that, but just kind of work through that. But I think if you were to ask your Jenny C avatar, like, they're not searching anything that has to do with Lowe Down with Kevin Lowe. So, like, anything that painted a picture of overcoming adversity, rehabilitation, reclaiming control, but like personal growth, personal development, and also, like, it's your call on this, but the fact that you are blind as a podcaster, like, I know that there is a podcast out there. I think it's called, it's a coach, and he's like the blind being led by the blind, or blind leading the blind, or something like that. And so just the fact, like blind courage or something like that, or like something that's like, what's this about? Like, oh, this is different. This is unique, because you bring a unique flavor to the coaching space and the inspiration space. And, like, you are an example of what you're trying to help everybody else do. You've dealt with some major, major shit, and you're flipping it around and you're thriving. So, like, I would love to see a title that has that flavor to it, and it has a little bit of SEO, and you're going to explode, because the right people, all the Jenny C avatars, are going to be out there finding you, and that's what we want. So I'm not going to make anybody change their name of their show or anything, but, like, I would just kick around some ideas, maybe keep, like, a little journal and go, okay, here are some words that I like. Here's some SEO words that I like. Here are some inspiration words that I like. And then just start messing around with different combinations. And I was just working with one of my clients that's doing a rebrand. And all of a sudden the aha moment hits, and she sends me that Voxer message, and she's all fired up. She's like, this is it. This is the perfect one. And it'll light you up just as much as the Lowe Down with Kevin Lowe.
Yes.
So that's something to consider. Now, if you're going to be releasing, you don't have to do this, but if we want to look at optimal, I would look at recording some of these coaching style episodes. And maybe that's like the rebrand kickoff, is you, like, a workshop week with 5 of those suckers going out, and then the new style of content. That's what my friend Jan Ditchfield did when I helped her with her rebrand, and it went extremely well. So I think that's something that I would consider doing. And the rebrand thing, just listen to episode 295. That's got all my strategies on it. And there's like a little 3-week protocol. And yeah, I mean, how's that hitting you, man? Are you still feeling weird about the rebrand situation?
No, to be quite honest with you, dude, I'm to the point where I want to really maximize the growth of the podcast, to the point where I'm just like, yeah, I'm all for a new name. If it will help me grow even more and reach out to that ideal person, I'm all for it. So yeah, I love it.
Good. Okay. So We've talked about coaching. We've talked about monetization. We've talked about the rebrand and the title. I got to hold your feet to the fire, Kevin Lowe. I need a one action step commitment, something you can do in the next 24 hours, whether that's making a list of potential names and keywords or finding 3 people or one person, sending an email to a client, asking them to do a coaching style episode. What's one thing you can commit to me and all the Podcasting Business School fans out there in the podcasting universe? Something that you can do in the next 24 hours to initiate momentum on what we talked about today. What do you got?
Absolutely. So first off, for me, I'm nailing down the name, description of the coaching style episode so that I can start reaching out to some people on that, because I love that idea. And in addition, totally brainstorming about the name.
Outstanding. And those will work together, because
yes,
if you're talking about keywords are keywords, and hot button words are hot button words. So maybe one thing works for one and it ties into the other one. So yeah, well done. I like that a lot. All right, bro. You got to shout out your show. Where do people go? Where's your website? The mic is yours, my friend.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Well, currently we are it's the Lowe Down with Kevin Lowe. Best place to go is the website. It's just literally www.thelowdownwithkevinlowe.com. I always like to emphasize, please spell Lowdown correctly, and that's with an E. So LOWEDOWN. So the lowdownwithkevinlowe.com. Yeah, man, find me on all the podcasting places on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, that's me.
All right, Kevin, I truly enjoy being connected to you, my friend. And for everybody out there, if you can do a podcast audit, just like the world famous Kevin Lowe, then hop on the website, podcastingbusiness.school, get signed up. The link is in the show notes, and you guys are all podcasters. So I actually know, what show notes are. Go click on that button and get signed up, get on the wait list. And we'll see you here for an interview, your very own podcast audit. All right, everybody, I appreciate you. And we're going to send you out into the world, wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We will see you next time.